Hello everyone, how are you? In this time, we are going to learn about the way Indonesian people learn English language. When we're talking about language, language is one of humans' culture that have the high value because with language, human can communicate and have interaction with one another. With language, human also can grow and can know all the aspects that appear in daily life. So, from this statement, it is clear that language is very important for humans because language is used even when you get up in the morning until you sleep in the night. In this time, we are going to learn about how Indonesian people learn English language. English language, as you know, that it is the only language that used as international language. English language is very important for all of human in this world. Why? There are many reasons why English is becoming very important, but I want to give you some reason why English is very important. For the first is English opens new career opportunities. Nowadays, the companies, they always have many relation with another companies and they prepare the best job for people who have bilingual or people that can speak in two languages. If you be able to speak in English, it is become something that very good for you. Why? Because you can use your skills, you can work at the company, you can use it even as an editor or translator. It is up to you. For the second reason is with no English also, it can bring you to have study abroad. Why? When you want to study abroad, you have to follow the TOEFL test or IELTS. If you have a good skills in English, so you will be pass it and you can have the opportunities to study abroad. The third reason is English is the top language of the internet. You can see in internet, even at article, social media, all of them using English as the language system. Even they have a Indonesian language or Japanese language. It is just for translation, but the system is in English. So if you understand English, when you using the electronic in access internet, you will be able to understand what you read. The fourth reason is English makes your life more entertaining. Why? Because if you be able to understand English, when you watch a movie, when you reading article, journal, or anything, and you understand what you read, it will be makes you too easy to understand and you will enjoy what you read. And the last reason is learning English can make you smarter. On top of all the reasons that I have given to you, learning a new language such as English, it will help your brain function in new ways. Research shows that learning a new language can change your brain and structure. So don't worry, it is not change your brain to the bad, but it is in a good way. Put simply, by learning language, it can make your brain to be strong and more versatile, improving the way you think. Research also shows that bilingualism can keep their brain strong and healthy into old age and helps with their memory, concentration, and other skills. How do English used globally? Okay, let's see this guys used globally. The history of English language is divided to some era. For the first is before English, Old English, Middle English, Early Modern English, Late Modern English, and English today. Before English, it was the Indo-European language, and in the Old English, it is the invasion of the Germanic tribes and the coming of Christianity and the literacy. For example, like the book of Shakespeare and the Anglo-Saxon or Old English literature. In the Middle English, it was the Norman conquest and the French or Anglo-Norman influence. And in early modern English, there are printing press and standardization, and the golden age. It was the golden age of English literature. Oh, I'm sorry. And for like William Shakespeare, it comes in early modern English. Late modern English, it was in the colonialism and the British Empire, and American dialect, Black English, Britain's other colonies, and the language reform or literary developments. And it was the happened in 20th century and until present. English today is the English that we learn or we use in now. How do people acquire English language in general? Generally, humans have two types or two ways in acquire a language. For the first is first language acquisition, or also called language acquisition, and the second is second language acquisition. First language acquisition is the process where the infants or baby they acquire a new language. When they acquire a new language, they can communicate, for example, like babbling, cooing, and crying. And the second language acquisition, it is the process where people learn a language as their second language. For example, I'm an Indonesian. I learn English as the second language. How do Indonesians explore the language in developing language competence? I think there are some ways which Indonesian people explore the language in developing their language competence. For the first way is from external ways, and the second is internal ways. In external ways, people they can developing their language competence by learning at schools, in the place they work, or in the church or wherever they are, or they do their activity. students that in the school they can develop their language competence by the system of the by the learning system. Student also they can did like field trip or cooperative learning. Why? Because by field trip they not only just for relaxing, but they also can learn something new. For example, they field trip, they go to monas, they go to museum, and they learn about all the things there. And cooperative learning. By cooperative learning, the students was encouraged to become people that active, people that want to share with one another. By that process, they can be have a good communication one another as students, and it will, even they realize or not, it will build their and developing their language competence. And the second is internal ways. In internal ways, it is according to the people, according to that person that he wants to learn autodidact. Even it is by open internet, by watching video, listening to the music, or even he do his hobby by writing, reading, or any else. Indonesian people imitate the pattern of English language. Of course, yes. Let's see this slide. In Bahasa Indonesia, there are subjek, predicate, object, dan keterangan. And in English, we learn about subject, predicate, object, and also complement. In learning English, in English, subject, it can refer as noun substitute, or pronouns. Predicate, it can be verb or compound verb with or without part of speech, without another part of speech, and then will be followed by the object. The object is, it can be a place or another thing. Not place, it can be people or something. So let's see. Here, the children, it was the subject. Played, played, it was the predicate. The game is the object. So it's the same with Indonesian, subject, predicate, object. It is one of the example that I can give. How do they examine the functioning of different sounds in word building and physical properties behind their production? So here you can see this is the brain, this is the human's brain, and there are broca's area, motor control of mouth and lips, motor cortex, angular gyros, and primary auditory cortex, and also here it's Wernicke's area. The auditory cortex here, it is involved in it used for hearing sound. Vernix area, you can see this red part. It is involved in how the brain process and in understanding the speech sounds. In the broadcast area, it is how the planning speech response. When you see that in this part, motor cortex, it is responsible for coordinating the muscles responsible to produce the words. Now I want to give you my view about English language. Learning a language is better for me than learn mathematics because I don't like mathematics. I started to learn English when I was in junior high school. I remember that first day when we learned English, it starts from zero. We learn about what is 0, 1, 2, 3, and we learn about the alphabet from A until Z. But day by day, month, year by year, I'm always trying to enjoy learn English, and I'm step by step I'm moving forward. And as you see that now I can speak English even it is not really good yet. The way I improve my language competence is by listening to the music, by watching movie. Sometimes I use subtitles, but sometimes I don't use it because I want to train my ears, and I want to trying my ability. Besides it, I'm also like to reading a book, for example, like a motivation, religious book, and the Bible in English language. When I read the book, I'm always highlight it. And if I found the new vocabularies, I have a small book or a pocket book that I always write down and what is the new word and the meaning. And also I like to make a short video. I record myself and I'm trying to learn it. And for me, I'm not really good yet in learning pattern of sound and sentences. Why? Because it is quite hard for me. I'm struggling in learning about the grammar and the pattern in English. Sometimes I cannot use the tenses properly. Sometimes I mix. For example, we talking about the present tense. Sometimes I mix it with the past tense or future tense, for something like that. But even I don't have the good ability in sentence patterns. There are some reasons that keep motivates me, that still burn in my heart and my mind, is I want to back to my my village, and I want to teach the children the children there. I want to teach them to learn about English, because sometimes I'm feeling like, oh, I was late, but I think I'm not late yet in learning English. I want to back to cut. The things that keep motivates me in learning English is I have a desire to, after I graduate, after I have a good English skills, I want to be back to my village, and I want to teach the children there about English. I want to build them, I want to plant in their mind about English since they were child, since they were a kid. So when they grow up, they are not get the same experience like me. And the second is I want to study abroad. I want to continue my master degree abroad. So it is something that always motivates me to keep learning English and to be better. And in learning English, as a human, I have difficulties that I faced, and it cannot be solved yet until this time. It is the way when I talk, I cannot have the motion yet. And also in learning English, also the problem that I cannot solve yet is about the grammar. It is something that very, very hard for me. I'm always trying, but it's actually not worth it yet. Something that difficult for me in learning language and that I have solved is the way I speak in front of people, about the self-confidence. The difficulties that I have solved is about the self-confidence. In the beginning, the difficulties that I have solved is self-confidence. And earlier, I don't have a self-confidence to speak in front of people. I'm always feel ashamed and I don't want to speak in public. But because of many activities, because of many practice that I did, it makes me to have self-confidence. So that's all that I can share to you. I hope you